In this video for the Section 7.1 activity, we're going to talk about if-then statements. Soccer tournaments, like the Euro Cup, are notorious for their unpredictable outcomes and nail-biting finishes. Commentators, players, and fans alike enjoy predicting scores and seeing which teams will move on to the next round. Question 1 says that broadcasters often explain possible outcomes of a game. At the halftime of a match, Germany is beating England 1-0. The announcer says, if the score holds, Germany will play Denmark in the semifinal. Can the announcer say with certainty that Germany will move on to play Denmark? Why or why not? So the answer to that question is no. Currently, Germany is winning the game at halftime, but it's possible that England could come back and win the game, and then Germany would not move on to play Denmark. We'll say no. It's possible that Germany could lose. England could still win the game. In which case, England would go on to play Denmark. Part B says if no additional goals are made for the rest of the game, what will happen? So, if the score holds, Germany will play Denmark in the semifinal. So if no additional goals are made, then that means that Germany wins the game and they will go on to play Denmark in the semifinal. So Germany will win and go on to play Denmark. Question C. If Germany plays Denmark in the semifinal, can you say with certainty that the game ended 1-0? In other words, the score held. Why or why not? So it's possible that Germany still won the game, but the score was not 1-0. So it's possible that they won with a different score. So we can't say for sure that the score was 1-0. So it's possible that more goals were scored, but Germany still won. For example, Germany could win with a score of 2-0. It could have been 2-1. It could have been 3-1. So it's possible that the score was not 1-0, but that Germany still won the game, and then they moved on to play Denmark in the semifinal. So when we're looking at our statement here, if the score holds, Germany will play Denmark in the semifinal. So if the score holds, we know for sure that Germany will play Denmark, but it doesn't work the other way. If Germany played Denmark, that doesn't necessarily mean that the score held. Question 2. In the group stage, each group consists of 4 countries that play each other. If the team beats their opponent, they earn 3 points. A tie is 1 point, or a draw, and if they lose, they don't earn any points. The 2 teams with the highest number of points in their group move on to the knockout stage. On the first day of the tournament, Germany beat Portugal and Hungary tied France. How many points do each of these 4 teams have at this point? So we know that a win is worth 3 points, so Germany has 3 points. And Portugal has a loss, and so they have 0 points. And Hungary and France each have 1 point because they tied. Question B. At the end of the group stage, Germany has 7 points, France has 5 points, Portugal has 3 points, and Hungary has 1 point. Is this enough information to figure out how many wins, draws, and losses each team has? Explain. So here's what we started with after the first round. So I'm going to copy and paste that down here. So Germany started with 3 points. At the end of the group stage, they had 7 points. So they scored 4 more points to get to 7. Now, the only way that they could have scored 4 points is with 1 win and 1 tie. They could not have 4 ties because there aren't enough games. There's only going to be 3 games in the round, and so they can't have 4 ties. So they need to have 1 win and 1 tie, which means their overall record is 2 wins, 0 losses, and 1 tie. Okay, let's go to Portugal. Portugal started with 0 points after the first round, and now they have 3 more points. How can they get 3 points? Well, 1 win, or they could have 3 draws or 3 ties, but they can't have 3 ties because there's only 2 more games for them to play since they've already played 1. So it must be that they got 1 win to get 3 points, and then since they only had 3 more points, then they must have lost the other game. So 1 win and 1 loss, which overall gives them a record of 1 and 2. And then Hungary started with 1 point, and now they have 1 point, so they must have 2 more losses. Which puts their overall record at no wins, 2 losses, and 1 tie. So 0, 2, and 1. France started with 1 point, and then they had a total of 5 points. So they also have 4 more points. And as we said earlier, 4 more points has to be 1 win and 1 tie. And so their overall record is that they have 1 win, no losses, and 2 ties. So 1, 0, and 2. Okay, and then question 3. This is a little bit going in a different direction. If a player is chosen to play on the national soccer team, they are considered a world-class athlete. Suppose you find out that a world-class athlete is coming to Northwood. Can you assume that they are part of the national soccer team? Why or why not? So if you think about this, you should be able to realize that no, you cannot assume that they are part of the national soccer team because they could play a different sport. So they could be a world-class athlete in basketball, volleyball, swimming, track and field, lots of other sports that they could be a world-class athlete in. So if a player is chosen to play on a national soccer team, they are considered a world-class athlete. So if they are on the national soccer team, we know that they are a world-class athlete, but we can't flip it around. We can't say that if they're a world-class athlete, we know that they are on the soccer team. And then question 4 says to come up with your own sentence that follows the if-then pattern. Is your sentence still true when you reverse the 2 parts of the statement? So obviously there's lots of possibilities for coming up with your own sentence. I'm going to give 2 examples here. One thing that's kind of a good model to use for this is thinking about consequences or things that cause other things to happen. So the first one that I'm going to use is if I hit my brother, then I go to time out. This is something that children might experience if they are misbehaving, then they have a consequence. So if I hit my brother, then I go to time out. That's one if-then statement. And then if I flip it around or reverse the 2 parts, if I go to time out, then I hit my brother. So in this case, that's not necessarily true because it's possible that you're going to time out for a different reason. That I'm going to time out for some other reason. Maybe you did something else that was bad and you got a time out for that. So that's one where it is not true when you reverse it. Let's look at another example. If today is Friday, then I get paid today. Let's flip it around. If I get paid today, then today is Friday. So there's also a little bit of kind of context involved, or a lot of context involved. So for the second sentence, if you get paid and you only ever get paid on Fridays, if I get paid today, then today is Friday, that would be true. So if your pay is on Friday and only Friday, then it works in both directions. If you get paid on Friday but sometimes get paid on other days, then it wouldn't work. So this one I'm going to say, yes, this is true, assuming you only get paid on Fridays. And depending on your pay schedule, you could maybe do it a different way. Like maybe I say, if today is the first of the month, then I get paid today. If I get paid today, then it is the first of the month. So if you're only ever getting paid on the first of the month, then that could be true in both directions as well. So it really depends on context. Sometimes things can be reversed and they're true in both directions, and sometimes they can't. So I would encourage you to come up with your own sentences and then think about whether they are still true if you reverse the two parts of the statement.